Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and I've been playing around with these Knipex Swedish pipe wrenches, and I like them. I like this one a little bit better. I'll get into the differences and design in just a second. Regarding this, I'm going to mention I did throw this on the grinder. One thing I noticed as I was playing around with it is obviously, as many commenters pointed out, there was probably a casting line right through the center of that, which made it not very flat. But I also noticed that they didn't line up quite parallel, so I threw them on my belt sander, and I've been grinding them down. I need to do a little bit more, but if you look at this, I'll go ahead and use my light here as an example, which is fairly parallel. If you look at that, it's just a little off. I need to take a little bit more material off right here and then flatten it. And that'll give me, a plenty good jaw grabbing on larger plastic fittings. It's already way better, but you can see it's not quite perfect yet, and for a $9.95 tool, I want perfection. Oh, and somebody else asked if there was a SAE version. I have not found one, so you're stuck with just the metric. Anyway, there is a lot you can do with a Swedish pipe wrench, but I've noticed it's a little bit small compared to a lot of things. So, like, here's a Knipex Cobra, and the Cobra actually has a greater reach than this here. This particular one is the 8330-110, and that has what Knipex calls the S jaws. There's also the 8310 or the 8310 010. I don't know what I said there. Here's the 8330 010, not 110, sorry, and the 8310 010. So the difference is whether or not you've got the shorter parallel jaws or the S-shaped jaws. Now, if you notice the top on both of these, the top jaws point backwards, the lower jaws point forwards on both of them. That's pretty normal. In fact, if I compare that to, well, even this rigid, this is a 24-inch rigid or 18-inch rigid pipe wrench, you can see that the jaws at the top have a lean back, the jaws on the front, or at the bottom, lean front, towards the front. So it is directional in the way you use it. And for reference, here is a snap-on PWZ wrench, and this one, again, you're seeing the same thing. So they are directional in the way these things work. They're not designed for pulling or lifting this way. They're designed for pushing this way. Same here. This is where the little bit of accentuated handle is. This is actually pretty rough down here, so that your hand is doing nothing but holding that closed. All of the force should be at the top end, and then you push. And also, if you notice the way this handle works, this comes down to the bottom. So as you're pushing on the bottom, trying to rotate it, what you're actually doing is pushing up on the bottom jaw. So if you grab something here, and then I'm going to cinch that up, and that's one of the nice things, similar to an adjustable wrench, if you really work at it, is I can actually get that nice and snug, and then almost all my force, I guess I'm on the nut there, if pushing down on this part of the wrench, where my thumb is, or my fingers now, pushing down on that actually holds it. It locks it on fairly well to the fastener. Anyway, a couple of things. This has a very small opening here. Here's a snap-on wide mouth, I think this is the 8-inch, yeah, the 8-inch adjustable wrench, and you can see that's pretty close right there. That's what you get. Obviously, the Knipex is more. What about this little snap-on PWZ? This guy here, I don't know what size it is, not very big. Made in Argentina, by the way. Is pretty close right there. If you look at that compared to the the overall size of the wrenches. So I really like these little PWZs. I like, you know, the more I use them, it's a great design. Thought I'd give the Knipex a try because I could get both of these for less than the price of this. Overall, it's powder-coated finish, fairly hard steel, good solid teeth. When you grab a hold of something on this, let's see, grab something a little bit bigger. This is approaching, believe it or not, the maximum of what you can grab, which is kind of odd. I can go a little tiny bit bigger, just so this fits through, falls through when it's closed, but just barely. Add a little zip to it, and I've got it locked in. This is pretty aggressive. It is going to score up plastic and brass fittings, but a lot of times that's not what you care about at the moment. But it is an interesting design that allows you to quickly adjust it on the fly. Just add a little slack if you're two-handing it, and then cinch it down, and you've got, you know, a good solid grip. You can also do it opening and closing with one hand. I'm getting the feel for this wrench. I kind of like it. This one, I mean, it has its place as long as this stays nice and loose. You can see how you just cinch it up. It's kind of like an adjustable wrench, except way stronger. This does have some limitations, inherent designs, especially on the smaller side. So even though this may be able to grab something bigger, there's a good chance I'd break it before I would break this. In fact, I don't think you could break this under human hand strength. There is just too much metal there. However, not near as much metal as if you compare a standard pipe wrench. So I've got a rigid 14-inch aluminum here. I love these aluminum rigids. And this particular wrench, this kind of monkey wrench, pipe wrench, is almost twice as thick as the Knipex. The jaws, pretty aggressive on both, but the overall profile, if you think about trying to get this into spots, it's a different world. And plus, the ability to grab it more like a plier can make a big difference compared to trying to drop a pipe wrench over it. Although this can make a big difference in being able to rotate it and have the pipe wrench give me a little more slack here. You know, being able to rotate it a little too much there. You know, loosen, grab, loosen, grab, loosen, grab. That's a nice feature of the pipe wrench and reason for the offset. But overall, it's a different world. If I was overlanding, I don't know, I'd be considering this pretty seriously. Being able to grab about anything that fits within these jaws, even the, you know, up to the flush side, and have a nice long lever handle. So I'm going to be trying that out in my overlanding kit. This one probably has a better home in the plumbing kit, but these are hard to beat. But on the other hand, if you look at the density, the amount of metal, there's a chance you might break these if you're really wailing on them. But again, I've seen people stand on them, literally, in Knipex. I guess I've done it before too in tests. Use the Knipex stand, grab the red bar, or the Knipex tester, which is called a stand. Grab the red bar and then stand on the handle and bounce around, and it stays on and doesn't slip and doesn't break. But the other thing that's interesting about these is they make one that is huge. This here is the Knipex. This is the 560, this long. They actually make, I don't think my field of view is big enough, but they actually make one that is 750 millimeters. That's to right here. So you can see just how long that thing would be. I would love to see one. They're a little on the pricey side, so we might not see one on this channel. You know, and I barely have any use for this guy. But to see something that's half again, almost as long as this thing, that's a sight to behold. But I do have some fairly long pipe wrenches, so maybe that's where we're headed. But anyway, They're inexpensive, I guess, both as Knipex tools and Swedish pipe wrenches for a powder-coated steel tool. Different teeth designs. You can get what you need. They come in all kinds of different sizes. These look like the most versatile for my world. But I thought that might be a good tool to try to play with and understand and see where it fits in to this collection of pipe wrenches and high leverage tools, essentially, is what it is in overlanding. So, if you've got experience with these, let me know. If you have an opinion about the Swedish pipe wrench versus the PWZ versus the standard American monkey wrench, let me know. And with that, Doc out.